Hey, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Book It or Release podcast. We're back, Ray and myself. Ray, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Oh, yeah, I guess I should mention I passed a kidney stone this past week, which was a lot of fun.
Stones are no joke, man.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Spent about 7 hours in the hospital. My wife took care of me. Yeah, and in the end, I passed a 3 millimeter stone that, from the size of it, it wouldn't look like it would take down a 200-pound guy, but holy cow, man, I couldn't move with that thing inside of me.
All right. Just so you know, we're gonna release this part of the podcast because we're not booking that at all. That is definitely something we're not gonna do.
Yeah,
We don't
certainly
want
not.
that. Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad
no.
you're feeling better. I'm glad it's not a fun thing. I've gone through it. I know what I went through it, and it was bad. So you know what? I'm glad you're better. I'm glad you're back. You sound, totally energetic, totally like you've been through a good one.
Yeah.
So I
uh,
don't want to. One of the things I don't want to relive is that.
no, that's why I'm drinking gallons of water a day, so it never happens ever again. Oh man. All right. Anyway, so enough about me. So this episode we are going to do a follow up on our interview we did with Kimberly Cassar, my sister. There were a lot of things that she brought up that both Ray and I had a lot to think about. She had a lot of very interesting perspective on hiring and COVID and how corporations are now looking to hiring people and her perspective on how to handle rejection and how to handle success and how to deal with the whole process. So Ray, I know you had a lot of things you wanted to talk about regarding that interview.
Yeah, I gotta say, having Kimberly on was good for me personally. Good for me in a lot of sense where she brought out a lot of stuff that I didn't think about before. She definitely picked, uh, to put it kindly, she brought to light that all the stuff that I've done wrong unintentionally, and she brought it to light and made me think about it that I even wrote it down. And I really step by step realized that on the interviews that I've gone and that I've had, as positive as it may has seemed and as good as they may have gone, and I know why it didn't happen. And I think is because I was either too arrogant or too cocky unintentionally because of my experience, because of my, transition in this business from being in one place for a very long time and then moving it around to a couple of places and then being in a place of a position of authority where you have the ability to change the outcome, hire, let go, reject certain things. You get a lot of experience with that, but I definitely notice the arrogance that I may have come across. And I may have put people in positions to go, whoa, maybe this guy is either too good that we won't be able to mold him to our structure within our company because he knows so much. Is he willing to take that step back? I've heard the word overqualified
Hmm.
a couple of
Right.
times throughout my interview. And, to me, overqualified is less that someone has to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
That's how I perceive it. But I think I didn't give them the right perception of going, hey, I could fit into whatever your structure is, and I am able to adapt to what that is.
Right. Yeah. And that's the question. Like, how do you do that? Like, is it a more of a humble kind of delivery on your end? How is that achieved? At
I,
least,
yeah,
what do you think that is?
listen, I know that I have to take a pause and reevaluate how I approach it. I have to approach not saying too much,
Mm,
just trying to ease it back a little bit. They ask a question, pause, really, ingest what they're saying and listen to what they're saying or what they're asking, and just reply to that. No more, no less, with a humbling factor in your voice, right? Because one of the feedbacks from your sister was also in our when we started this, we sounded down when we did that follow-up episode of not having the best experience because we were so kicked in the gut. But we realized that these people that are interviewing and trying to put somebody in that place are looking for someone that they could fall in with them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Some of the interviews I've been on, a lot of it was, seeing how I would fit into their puzzle, and I get that, it's
Yeah,
important. Like you need a team member, not,
not somebody
someone
to
who will take
right,
over,
not somebody to come and now. Granted, your sister also pointed out that she personally and the person she works for and the company she works for now, they thrive on finding that person that can take their spot.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yep.
said that clearly. Now you don't hear that a lot. In my mind, I was thinking, maybe everybody's different, but in my mind, I thought, wow, these people are threatened by me without, because they didn't accept me.
Right.
That in itself is arrogant to think that,
Oh,
right?
dude, that's such a good point.
That in itself is arrogant to think. But some people look for that.
Right, because you gotta, the way I took it from what she was saying was, say I need to hire somebody. I guess the ultimate goal is for that person then to take over my position so I can move up that ladder. I can then hand my stuff off to them
Correct.
to move up
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I've been accustomed of working in a place for so many years in the several places I worked with. I knew the people I worked with, right? I never really had an interview
Right.
after I left National, right? Because I left National and I reunited with Peter and that crew that was in National again, right? Then I'm with them for 8 or 9 years until I don't leave there. So a combination between that is about 12 or 13 years that I'm with one group.
Yep.
The moment I walk away from that group, now I am being vetted because of my history, because of people that I know, friends that we've made. I never really had an interview after that. It was, hey, Ray, we know what's going on in your place. We know that everybody's separating. We know what you're doing. Do you want to come on board?
Right.
And my response is, if it works for you and it works for me, sure, because I know this person.
Right.
Now that we stepped out of that line and we try to go to other avenues of places where people don't know us, it's tough for them to make that decision. And
Yeah.
it doesn't make it any easier. Now, mind you, I'm not giving a lot of these people passes because I still think that getting back to you in a timely fashion to let you know whether if you got the position or not, or you weren't picked, I think it could be streamlined a little bit better knowing everything that's going on now. People
Yeah.
are waiting desperately for an answer and
Yeah.
people are not stopping. So to let them off the hook, I think is easy to go, hey, we appreciate your time, but we're going another direction, right? I still feel that should happen. But I also have to be empathetic to say that maybe I didn't give them that opportunity to say that because of the unintentional cockiness or arrogantness that I came with. And
Yeah.
that is something I have to fix for myself in general, because I don't want to come off like that, right? One of my biggest things that I've preached is I want to be in a place where I can encourage, I can mentor, and I can help any way I can to give everything that I know and everything that I can learn with a perspective on how it should be. So how many times, so you try to play back in your mind now, right? Because your sister made it very clear in how she says, she goes, when she speaks to us, granted she knows you, but when she speaks to me during that episode, she literally says, she goes, you don't sound arrogant, right?
Yeah.
But you can give a hint of coming off. And I go, wow, in a split second, right? Like what you just said.
Hmm.
How do you curve that when you know you're so confident in what you can do or what you're capable of doing?
Yeah.
But that perception is so, I guess there's a fine line, because I was always told, you're perceived a certain way, right? I was perceived a certain way in National. I was perceived a certain way at Tonic. I was perceived a certain way at A&E Media. I was perceived so many different ways, but by who?
Right.
Because like not everybody's perception mattered to me. Only the people that were close enough to me.
Right.
If the people close enough to me didn't tell me that I was being arrogant or cocky, then maybe I wasn't because they knew me already accustomed. But in other people's eyes, I was.
Yeah.
So it's so tough. It's like I said, I haven't put in for another interview at all since the last one I had because I felt so, you know, I just felt deflated.
Yeah.
And after your sister saying that, I said, wait, I have to regroup. I have to figure out that if I do get another interview and if I do have the chance to interview with someone else and I get the opportunity, how am I going to curve it? Do I curve it now way back too much that it looks like I'm just not certain of what I'm putting out?
Right.
And now I'm underachieving so where's that balance?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Maybe it's just keeping all of that stuff in mind and, pumping the brakes a little bit, when you're talking to somebody. I know I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to pump the brakes. I'm not going to, keep yammering on and talking about all my experience and stuff like that. Like you said, I'm going to listen to their question. I'm going to answer it.
And that's it.
If they want to follow up, happy to, to jump in on that. But, I'm definitely going to pump the brakes.
Right. And it's so tough because how many people go through this?
Uh,
How many qualified people go through this? And granted, now we're talking to maybe younger than we are now. Now, granted, we're not old by no means.
Right.
I think within the business, I know within the business, I know I've tripped a lot, but I've always recovered. And I always felt that I learned how to be a better person
Hmm.
because of the people I worked with, right? I play to people's strengths. I never expected anybody to play to my expectation because my expectation was to the owner and to the business. So I felt I had more that I had to give of myself to make sure that I succeeded.
Hmm.
I don't expect anyone to do that for me. What I do is here's the task that I need you to do, knowing that you could do it. Do it 100%. Let me know when it's done, and we go from there. Then we go to the next thing.
Right.
I don't have to worry about that. That's the confidence that I give. That's the encouragement I give for them to fly on their own without micromanaging. So when you're on the other side of the coin, it's a fine line where we sound arrogant, cocky, or do we sound unsure and, not confident enough to, like all that stuff to play in your head while you're getting a question is, I'm sorry, it's quite nerve wracking.
Big time. Big time.
So what I loved about your sister was her approach to so many things that she's done. First, her change in work.
Hmm.
She wasn't happy. To me, I think a lot of people work in a place where they're not happy, but they still go because of the responsibilities, right?
Right.
The choices that we have, especially now through everything that's happened pre-COVID, post-COVID, has changed everyone's lives. Or for the people that I know that have changed their lives, right? I made a decision that some people wouldn't do at a certain point in my life. I don't want to do that, but I want to do this. That you're choosing, right? It's a given.
Yeah.
You're interviewing the people you're working for now,
That's right.
right? Your sister said that, right? It's a two-way street now. Now we have
Yep.
an option that, as much as they're interviewing us, we're interviewing them.
Yeah.
We just don't want to go somewhere just because there's dollar signs behind it and not be happy.
Yeah.
it's a tough line. That it's there's no way around it. But how many people do it, right?
I
Okay,
would say more than not. Yeah.
right. You're right. They'll go because that's all they know. That's all
Yeah.
they've been to. They've been in a comfortable space for so long that they're not willing to get out that space. Okay, we've done it. We've done it because we've been pushed to do it, and we've had no other choice. Now that we're trying to get it back into it, and you know, your expertise is totally different than my expertise, even though they combine somewhere along the process, right?
Yeah.
I learned how to be an associate producer, getting stuff tagged, getting stuff out, tons of versions of different stuff that I've never done before, right? I was always behind a scheduling board or a scheduling screen. I was doing the budgets. I was talking to clients constantly. I was happy doing that associates thing because it was in the mix of like at National, right? At National, there was an office, there was a scheduling, but it was a big circle. No one had their own office.
Right.
Everybody was just in the pit.
Yeah.
I want that feeling again. And to be honest with you, your sister gave me the confidence that when I do choose to apply for something that I see, I'm going to interview them the way they're interviewing me, hopefully with the idea in the back of my head that I'm not being arrogant.
Exactly. Yeah. No, dude, that was put perfectly. I think that's the mindset that we have to go into these interviews with,
Yeah.
just keep it in the back of your head and interview them as much as they're interviewing you, and pump the brakes on on the arrogance.
Yeah, no, listen, I really want to look. I know I want to put out there. I want to hear people's takes, right? Because I know a bunch of editors that aren't editing anymore. That they went and totally did different things.
Yeah.
I know people that have been in the business for so long as a salesperson, and now they're doing something that you would never think of.
Right. Like,
They totally walked away. So what was it? Did the same thing happen to them? That because they knew so much and they had that experience, they came off arrogant?
I guess that's certainly a possibility, or maybe they just wanted a life change.
Right. So,
Who knows?
before COVID, who knows? So
Yeah.
I think for us, your sister's conversation enlightened me. And it was so quick when she said it, the light bulb went off in my head. And to be honest with you, I heard someone else's voice in my ear as your sister was saying it, and it was Lisa McKenna.
Wow.
Because Lisa McKenna always gave that advice, always said, hey, if you know you're going to lose your cool for anything, take a breath, walk away, give it a minute, pause, come back. Now, granted, between Lisa and I, we never paused. and you weren't around for a lot of those years.
Yeah.
But when I was running AE Media for Bob Gianmarco, I learned a lot of her lessons because I was pushed into it. Dude, I had arguments with engineers. Right? Let me be clear. I did not have an argument. They had an argument.
Yeah.
My response was, hey, you want to yell? Go ahead, yell. If you want to scream, I'm here for me to listen, because I know it wasn't towards me personally.
Of course.
They just it was the situation, and how you handle it said more than their, approach to it. How you reacted to them. If you showed calm, cool, your collect self, that nothing brought you out of your norm into a frantic state, they knew they did something wrong, but their approach was wrong.
Yeah.
And I learned that. So between your sister saying that, I heard Lisa McKenna's voice always telling me the same thing. You could do this. Just take your time, look a little bit more, and just don't do it for you.
Yeah.
And
That's great advice.
no, listen, and it's crazy how stuff just comes full circle sometimes.
Yeah.
And it takes someone that you don't know to validate someone you didn't know that said something so many times.
Yeah.
it's just weird how it happens. And for some people, look, I was never the type of person just to take directions. You told me what to do, I got it done. Don't bother me. Like, like you told me once, there's no need to repeat it constantly,
Right. Yeah.
and especially once I knew what I was doing.
Sure.
You told me what you needed to get done. I'm going to make sure you get it. Now, mind you, you never asked in what steps I was going to get it done. That wasn't the question. You just said, Ray, I need this done.
Yeah. Don't micromanage me. I'll get it done.
I'll get it done. You may not like it because some people react differently to that as well.
Yeah.
Some people go, oh, well, that's not how I would do it.
Well, you're not doing it. I'm doing it.
And in fact, that comes off as arrogant.
Yes.
God only knows how many times I've come off like that. But I
don't think you're wrong in that, though.
but it's so tough because it's also determining who it is, right?
Of course.
That's always a big thing in a post, or it depends who you do it to, right? Like if I pissed off Jennifer Fish, that'd be a big thing. If I pissed off Peter Fish, was a big thing. If I pissed off Lisa McKenna, was a big thing. It's not something I know there was things that I would approach with them that other people couldn't approach the same way, because my approach was, that don't fucking work. And they're looking at me and go, what do you mean that doesn't work? And why do you have to curse? And then I was like, because we're behind closed doors and it's just us. And I have to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was accustomed to. Now, I also learned that I couldn't do that everywhere.
No, certainly not. No.
You learn that as you go. Like there's certain people you just can't do that to. But your sister gave me such a light bulb, a switch that turned on that, her approach to everything now, she likes what she does. She's happy, right? When we said, a lot of people don't dare ask that question for some. Are you happy? Right. And, we found the pluses and minuses of what COVID is and what it's done. And all I could do is hope for people just to do what makes them happy.
Yeah. Find a way.
Yeah. And find a way. And you know what? We're going to get kicked down. We're going to get rejected. We're not going to get every job we interview for. We just got to learn from each experience, and hopefully someone will give us a chance.
Yeah. Oh, and that'll happen. It's just a matter of time at this point.
Right. I don't want it to be 10 years from now, because then I'll be 60. And then at that point, I don't want to, what are you going to do? But I think having your sister on was a great experience for me. It was great for this podcast. It was great for people to listen to hear from someone that actually does it every day.
Yeah. I'll never admit it. But she is brilliant and one of the smartest people I know. And if anybody tells her that I said that, I'll be really upset with you.
I hate to tell you this, but you just admitted it totally on this. So no one has to tell you. And, she knows that she's going to tell your mom. She made that abundantly clear.
Yeah.
But, you know what, dude? It was great to bring her on, and I think she was good for us. And I hope that whoever listens to this, it makes sense to them, just to hear someone else say that it's okay to fail. It's okay to get rejected. But you got to learn along the way what got you to that point.
Yeah. And think about the other side. Think about what the interviewer is having to go through and what they need to accomplish and things like that. Just perspective.
Yeah. I mean, you have to understand that they're a person too, being told by someone else, or, because not everybody's the same. Certain people have a certain criteria they're looking for, and it's okay if we're not it.
True.
We have to learn from that. So I appreciate your sister so much for that, and I'm glad that we did it.
Yeah, same. And hopefully we can bring her back sometime down the road. And
yeah, I would love to bring her back when we get a job, and we could thank her for it right off the bat, because it will be her advice right now that made that happen, to make that realization of where we shouldn't be kicking ourselves.
Yeah, we might have to owe her a case of a wine for.
I'm so in for that. I'm so in for that. But you know what, dude? I again, I can't say it enough. She did good for me.
Yeah, same here. Same here. On that note, let's call it a show.
Let's call it.
All right. Well,
the next one.
Thanks everybody for listening. Look out for our next show, which I'm super excited about.
Oh yeah.
Audio engineer, studio owner, AE Media's Bob Giamarco. We sit down and we talk with him for well over an hour. So it's going to be a two-parter. A lot of stuff to digest.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Later.